Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Safety Not Guaranteed, a romance film from 2012. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream and rent on all the major platforms. So go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
So welcome to Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And this week we are taking a look at a romance film from 2012 called Safety Not Guaranteed. This was Eddie's pick for romance this week. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I have a brief synopsis that I've tried to not do a spoiler with.
Okay,
right, but
good, but
people should have seen it by now since they're listening to the show.
Yeah, exactly. If you're listening to this, spoiler alert.
Yes,
we do spoilers.
So a mysterious classified ad is posted looking for a candidate to go back in time, and Jake Johnson, who plays Jeff, a Seattle-based magazine writer, volunteers himself and two interns, played by Aubrey Plaza and Karen Sony, to track down and interview whoever placed the ad. While Jeff's main reason for the assignment was to hook up with an old high school fling, the trio manages to track down Kenneth, played by Duplass, who is a goofy and eccentric person that may not be so crazy.
Or at least we think, because we don't really know, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, this was an hour 28 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It felt way longer. Though.
Did it really?
To me, it did.
What?
It felt long.
Oh my god.
It didn't feel long to me. It felt like an hour 30. It felt like the runtime.
Fair enough.
Is rated R,
which I wish it wasn't.
Yeah.
Rated R. I wish it was PG-13 or PG, because I would love to stick this in front of like teenagers or whatnot who are like budding filmmakers to say, okay, watch this. This is what you can do with one camera and a really good script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think that you can get a lot done, I don't know, in a very short amount of time. They got a lot of things done.
Yeah. So it's actually kind of interesting that you say that, is because we were just talking before we started recording this podcast that this was shot over the course of 4 weeks. This whole movie.
No shit.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either.
It's an independent film, so you move quickly. You have less people to,
yeah,
move around about and all that. One of the reasons it was shot so quickly was because Mark Duplass, he was in 3 other movies that year of 2012, so 4 total.
Okay.
So they had to shoot his stuff out within like the first 2 weeks of filming. So half of it, since he's one of the major characters, was just all of his scenes, and then they had to go back and do everything with all the other characters.
Blanks.
Knowing that information now, it does kind of make sense of why his character seemed, I don't know, not necessarily distant, but just odd. But it may have added to his character of just shooting all of his scenes up front, like the first week, just nothing but his shots. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't really have that much chemistry with the other actors, which kind of, I guess, went in his favor because he was the weirdo in the situation. Yeah,
which it makes sense because definitely they have no chemistry in the story, right, with him until they meet up with him, and he has this this long distance, this arm length distance relationship with Aubrey, Darius. Thank you.
Yeah.
Up until they start rolling around on the ground together, basically.
at a Boy Scout camp.
Yeah. And the weirdest montage in history.
Very romantic.
But anyway, so this was directed by Colin Trevorrow, who's famous for directing Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And then he is also directing the upcoming Jurassic World called Dominion, which is currently in post-production. It's scheduled for release in 2022. And he's also... He was one of the writers of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
Ugh,
there was 4 other writers.
So something I think that he did worse than this movie. So I'm with you. Go ahead.
He didn't. All he did was help write it.
I don't care.
Which I guess is probably your main
awful
concern with it.
Who wrote this movie? Wasn't it Mark Duplass?
No, it wasn't.
Oh shit!
It was
Derek Connolly.
Yeah, there it is. Derek Connolly, who is in the movie, by the way.
Okay, so Mark Duplass was just a producer in this movie.
He was he's credited as an executive
producer. Right. Okay.
And actor.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Mark Duplass is one of those guys that's like, I've seen him in something. It's like, oh, it's that guy. That guy's in this
He's
thing.
so plain looking.
Oh, I
that
know.
You're like, I
he
miss
he
him in a
molds
heartbeat.
into everything.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like one of those Renaissance actors. Like he produces, acts, directs, writes.
Writes, yeah.
He has a brother. His name is
Jay.
escaping me. Is it Jay?
Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Oh.
Who writes and directs, and they both star in each other's movies, and that
Interesting.
kind of little relationship.
And speaking of that, they actually pioneered a subgenre of independent film called, and I've never heard of this before. It's called mumblecore.
I know mumblecore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is characterized by naturalistic acting and dialogue, sometimes improvised, low-budget film production, and emphasis on dialogue over plot, and a focus on the personal relationships of people in their 20s and 30s.
Interesting.
So they apparently pioneered with
that.
this film. Actually, pioneered that.
So this is
that
considered
subgenre.
mumblecore?
Mumblecore. Yep.
Huh.
I could kind of see that, I guess. I don't know. To me, it makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. I shouldn't say I could kind of see it, but I would never know that I like that style of movie genre, you know.
Right.
But I do. I liked it. I don't know.
So this came out in 2012, which means it was up for 2013 Oscars, but it was an independent film, so it wasn't nominated for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was because it wasn't. You have to be released in Los
so many
Angeles
theaters,
and
yeah.
so many theaters and all that.
At a certain time.
Yeah. So I don't know if they just didn't make that cut or if they even tried to do that. I don't know. But it wasn't nominated for any Oscars. It did win some of the lower Academy, like arts and sciences kind of awards.
Yeah, like the branches of...
Yeah, the branches of the Oscar kind of stuff. So it did win a couple of those things. But I did want to say, let's hypothetically say this was up in the Oscars of 2013. Let's say it was up for Best Picture.
Okay.
Who would it be up against?
Okay.
Who?
Right. So the winner in 2013 for Best Picture was Argo.
Yeah,
Do you guys remember Argo?
Which I didn't like.
I didn't really like it all that much.
No.
either.
I've never seen it.
It took me 2 times to kind of warm up to it a little bit. But,
Yeah, I've seen it at least 3 times. I'm not a fan. Yeah.
Ben Affleck directed that.
I did like it. No, I did watch it. I did not like it.
Yeah. It's not good.
There's
That's
a
the
huge
problem.
difference in that statement.
Yeah, well, I know I had to correct myself, and also I would like to correct one thing I said just a second ago. I said they pioneered the mumblecore subgenre with this movie. No, they didn't. They actually their first film together was The Puffy Chair, which is basically a story about 2 brothers carting this purple comfy chair to their dad for his birthday across country.
Oh, okay.
So
It's all about character
Right, it's all
development.
about
Yeah,
character
it's
character
all
development.
about
yeah,
that.
they're
Yeah.
character dramas.
Yes.
Which
Gotcha.
again, I'm not normally a huge fan of, but the quirky aspect, the quirky way they go about it,
well, you can't.
I like it.
You can't hide things with the filmmaking piece. You can't hide
Yeah.
subpar acting with filmmaking.
You're right.
yeah,
I agree.
true.
I agree. That's okay, and we'll come back to that, by the way. But the acting in this, I would say, is some of the better acting I've seen in a while on a movie. Especially,
I agree.
Well, I'll explain more. But go ahead, back to the
Sorry,
2012
Yeah.
Oscars.
So 2013. So Argo won.
Yep.
The other movies that were nominated that year were Amour, Beasts of the Southern Wild, which I haven't seen yet, Django Unchained, Les Mis, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30.
Okay, so
Wow.
5 of those, I like. 4 of those, I like more than this movie.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Lincoln was terrible, but yeah,
Lincoln was not great, but I did appreciate. I did appreciate the acting in it. You can't really deny that the acting in it's pretty damn decent. You know
I
what I
guess
mean?
it's just not strong enough to hold up the movie.
I don't disagree with you on that. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a Daniel Day-Lewis character
that you liked less.
I don't like.
Oh,
Well, I mean that he did poorly, I should say.
yeah, but that's what I mean when I say the acting. I mean him as Lincoln. You're kind of like, oh, so that's what Lincoln looked like. I'm like, no, it's
Right.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, no, I mean you take
Looking like Lincoln.
like Gangs of New York, right? You take
Yeah.
DiCaprio out. You take
You can, and he's completely disposable
you,
from that movie.
You change everybody out, and the movie will be fine.
Yes,
but
I
if
agree.
you mess with Bill the Butcher, Daniel Day-Lewis, the film becomes subpar.
I mostly agree. I think that Liam Neeson holds his own for the 8 minutes
we
that
have to-
he's
right.
that
Yeah,
he's in
for
that
the-
movie.
Yes, absolutely.
He makes that
Yeah.
movie pretty damn
If
good.
he would live and Bill the Butcher didn't, I could live with the movie.
Yeah, I could still live
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, he for being in the movie for 8 fucking minutes, you're like, oh, Gangs of New York with Liam Neeson, and you're like, yeah,
He stole it. He
he's
really
in it
did.
for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So when this is the first time I've seen this movie.
Yes.
Safety Not Guaranteed. The one thing, it reminded me of another movie that I saw a little bit earlier that I like much better than this.
Okay.
And it's called Brooklyn Brothers Beat the Best.
Okay. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No.
It's about these two brothers who, in a band, they driving across country. It's another character
Yep.
thing. Driving across country to go into a rock, not concert, a
Like
band competition.
Oh, band competition. Okay.
Yeah. And that's all what the movie is. But, of course, things happen.
Okay. Is it a science fiction movie too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
So
it's just a down-to-earth kind of...
so okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
and then a
just
girl comes in, and, of course,
yeah, just comparing character drama to character drama.
Right.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, I say I would recommend checking it out. It's a pretty good movie.
Brooklyn Brothers
Beat the Best.
Beat the Best.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Brooklyn Brothers Beat the Best from what year?
2011, I believe.
Okay. So right around
It's
the
right
same
around
time.
the same time.
Well, see,
Yeah.
and this movie reminds me in a weird way. It reminds me of Elizabethtown with Natalie Portman and Zach Braff.
Mm-hmm.
Two completely different stories, obviously, but the romance, the way that all the characters, I should say, are kind of quirky, kind of out there. But the difference to me is Elizabethtown had a budget. I don't know what this budget for this movie is for Safety Not Guaranteed, but I can only assume that movie's budget was 5 times the size.
Has to be.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was just much better. The look, I should say, was much better. Like it looked smoother. It looked more like a big budget movie. But I like both for their character development. You know what I mean? So, anyhow, yeah. Back to Safety Not Guaranteed, though, Justin. What else you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what movie did we watch?
We watched Gangs in New York.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lincoln and
No, I don't have any other top of the show kind of notes about it.
Okay.
Because honestly, there's not too much info about the movie out there.
So let's talk Aubrey Plaza for a minute, and let's
Okay.
talk about Mark Duplass. So I was saying that I like him in this movie a lot. What I like about him in general is that he makes me believe that, I've never met Mark Duplass, but if I did, I believe he is Kenneth.
He does have that look.
Well, yeah. I think that he's going to be fucking crazy. I think he's probably going to be very much like him. Aubrey Plaza was not
Doomsday
acting.
prepper.
Was
That's
not.
what he seems like
Yeah,
to me,
right.
yeah.
Aubrey Plaza was not acting in this movie. That's just who she is. She acts like that everywhere at all times.
She acts as the same character in everything she does.
She does.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, she acts like that. I don't personally know her, but she does act like that.
Yeah.
In interview situations, whenever she's in front of a camera,
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's her character or she's just a very one
It's her brand.
personality
I agree
person.
with. Yes, I'm gonna go with. It's definitely her brand.
Yeah.
I agree with that
It's
completely.
her Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes. God damn. Yeah, I agree. So.
Go to sleep, motherfucker.
Yeah, I agree with you. But that being said, she just lets off this. The thing that I liked. So here's what I mean when I say that I like the acting in this. So she is quirky, she's weird, etc. But she's not dark like April from Parks and Rec is. She doesn't wish death on everybody like she does in Parks and Rec.
Right.
True.
And there's moments in this movie where there's a sadness to who she is, where she's when she finally breaks down and tells Mark Duplass why she wants to go back. At first, I thought she was lying. I was like, okay, so she's feeding this guy a line of shit. And then she kind of goes into this next level explanation where I'm like, she's not lying. She's not.
She first lied.
At first she lied.
And
Yeah.
then she was like, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah, but she goes even deeper into what happened to her mom. At the beginning, we find out her mom passed away. And she makes all these inclinations that's probably cancer or it's some kind of disease that takes her mom. And then whenever she's like, no, she died. She was killed by some random guy, et cetera, in a car accident, or excuse me, at a gas station. You're like, well, it's way too outlandish to be the truth,
Right.
And it was. She died because she stopped to get her mom, or her mom died, I should say, just to get her chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And it's like,
when she died in a car crash. Yeah.
well, fuck,
Yeah.
that's harsh,
Yeah.
That's rough. There's a lot of sadness to the way this movie is. That I don't know. It's a romance comedy that is rooted in sadness.
Well, and
You know what I mean?
And it's sadness with Darius, with Aubrey Plaza's character, sadness with Kenneth's character,
Yeah.
which we'll have to come back to because he's far more complex than.
Well, he's missing an ear.
Well, yeah. So he's a little not complex.
That's
that
probably
point.
that to me is the worst part about this movie. It makes almost no fucking sense. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah,
I'll come back to that in a
I
second.
don't understand why they
Nah,
had to
it-
make it an ear thing.
It does.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does because his is a physical.
Oh, okay.
Hers is
physical,
emotional.
and hers is emotional because she was pretty much an introvert.
Oh,
Right?
you know what? I like it.
And
Yeah,
through high school, that's why everybody made fun of her, and everybody made fun of him because of his ear.
that's complex.
Okay.
I wasn't going there, but that makes sense. I like it.
So
Okay.
they had a connection. They're both made fun of. They're both bullied. Bullies bag.
Okay, so
I like how you're trying to dumb it down, but meanwhile, you're the one that came up with this. Is a far more complex
No, no,
movie. Go ahead. though.
so since we're talking about Kenneth,
Yeah, sorry.
with him, what did you guys think? And I'll tell you what I think first. What did you guys think about him saying that what's her name? The Lauren,
the girlfriend.
yeah, the girlfriend was dead.
Oh, that was played by
Kristen Stewart.
No, it's not Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Bell.
Stewart.
Kristen Bell. It's
Kristen
Jack
Bell,
Shepard's
yeah.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
she was Belinda.
Belinda.
Yeah.
Right. She's saying that she was dead, and we find out she's not dead. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, when he ran his car into her boyfriend's house,
Yeah.
and she cut him off.
Yeah.
As far as no more friendship,
Yeah.
she died in his mind,
Okay.
and so he's going back to stop himself from doing that,
Yeah.
so he could still be friends with her.
It's
I
interesting.
think it's actually. I just thought about this.
Yeah.
He had said that there was a guy that killed her in a car accident.
Yes.
And then the guy hit her with his car or something like that, right?
Ran
Yeah.
into her house.
Ran to her house. Yeah.
And that was him
Right.
that ran into the house and killed her.
Yeah.
So he was trying to stop himself.
Yes.
Which in the whole
Right.
time travel
which
thing,
is a paradox.
it's a paradox. Yeah, you can't do that.
So here's the thing. So
Well, see, it doesn't have a paradox.
Flawed. No.
It doesn't have a paradox because we never go back in time. He's never went back in time.
Yeah, the movie doesn't do the typical paradox things with time travel, like if you go back
Right.
and kill your grandfather, do you exist? You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
What do you mean he didn't go back in time?
At the end of we don't go back in time. The back in time, the time travel happens at the end of the movie.
We don't witness.
We don't witness him going back in time.
yeah, what Kyle's saying is that okay. So
So when he did it once before,
well, hold on. Let me break this. Let me break this up real fast. So there's two parts here.
mansplain it to me, baby.
Well, no.
Mansplain it.
So the reason I'm saying that, but it's important because I think this movie, the reason I like this movie is that it is complex. It's like you're uncovering,
No.
hear me out. You're uncovering reality as Aubrey Plaza is uncovering reality. So when we hear that Mark Duplass is going back in time to save Kristen Bell's character, originally, we hear it through Aubrey Plaza's eyes. We see it through Aubrey Plaza's eyes, and we're like, okay, so this nutbag wants to go back in time. We start to actually become more endeared with Mark Duplass when she does. When she starts to like him and believe him is whenever, or not believe him, but like him more is whenever we start to like him more.
Yeah.
When she goes to visit Kristen Bell and she finds out that Kristen Bell is alive, we're at the same time like, okay, so this guy is fucking nuts. So we're all clear. He's crazy, right? So when she confronts him with that, she's like, look, I don't care. I like you. It's fine. You lied. It's okay. He's like, no, I didn't lie. The fact that she's alive means that we succeeded. We went back in time and we did it. She lived, right? He never says it was him that crashed into the house. He says that she says that he crashed into her boyfriend's house. My guess, it really doesn't matter, but something happens to where he stops the guy, but he wrecks the car. The guy gets away and the car, he's left with the car. That's my guess.
Because he did say in his ad
Yes,
that he'd
I've done that
this
once before.
Right.
Yes.
So he must have went back, but when he got back, he didn't see her.
Because then that would
So he
maybe
didn't-
break the paradigm. I don't know.
So he didn't realize that she was alive.
Maybe, yeah. But
Okay.
he
Yeah,
says,
but- okay,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Well, no, go ahead. I was just gonna say that, but the fact that Darius goes and sees Kristen Bell, I should say, for us breaks down that wall of okay, well, now Darius doesn't believe that he's sane, that he's obviously fucking nuts. He thinks he can go back in time, but he can't.
What's the script writing red herring?
It is, but what's great, but it was, I don't know, to me it's a little more beautiful than that in a weird way, because of the way that that she goes through those emotions, and it's kind of like, I don't really care that he's crazy. He's my kind of crazy. I appreciate that. Like you're talking about, they're both quirky, they're both twisted, so they fit together well. I'm like, but that's kind of beautiful in its own way.
There's no clear conflict in the film until that point.
Yeah. I agree.
Which is why it felt slow to me.
Yeah.
Is because that didn't really happen until 2/3 into the movie.
Fair enough. What I do find interesting, though...
Maybe actually about 20 minutes until the end.
It is. Yeah. It's about 20 minutes until the end.
Right. Oof.
What I do find interesting, though, is that this movie's not based on just one romance.
No.
Which I think is...
It's based off of 3.
4.
I would say 3.
4 romance? Okay, hold on. Why do you say 4? Who are the 4?
Kenneth and...
Darius.
No.
No.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Kenneth and Darius, Kenneth and Belina.
Oh.
Because in his mind, they were together.
Okay.
I guess there's 4.
I see where you're going.
Jeff and Liz.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Arnu, or Arnau, or Arnu.
Arnu.
Yeah, Arnu.
Yeah.
And his losing his virginity.
Becoming a man.
Fair enough. That's definitely a minor one.
It is minor.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's more like I consider him more of a coming of age type thing.
Absolutely.
And I consider Jeff he's coming of age mentally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Right? He's coming to terms with I'm this 30-something year old dude. I'm not a teenager anymore.
Yeah.
And my what's in my head is not going to be my life.
Well, what's happening with Jeff? What's happening with Jeff is actually mirrored in Kenneth. It's actually mirrored in Kenneth in a weird way.
Yeah.
So Kenneth is living in the past and trying to live this perfect world that he had with Belinda, Kristen Bell's character, right? So he's got this perfect girl that he worked with at a Pizza Hut or whatever the fuck, and he's living in that past. He's living in that past to such an extent that he literally wants to go back and live in that past, right? Jeff does the modern day version of that minus the time travel by going to his seaside town where he had this wonderful little tryst. And what's interesting to me about it is that he gets faced with reality like 3 times. The first one, he's a real dick and he's real childish, like you're pointing out. He comes into the place and he sees what's really a beautiful woman. Let's be honest. She's very pretty and she's very...
Well, that's my favorite scene.
The blonde?
By the way.
The blonde first?
When he goes into the salon and he sees the blonde, and it's the blonde that he's described to Darius. And we're like, holy crap! I could see why he would travel across the country and lie to his boss and all that about going going there. And then she moves out of the way, and then he makes that realization that the redhead.
But the redhead is still very pretty.
Oh yes, she's amazingly hot.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he has this fantasy woman of this blonde, and she's skinny, and she's a certain way. And then when he sees a more heavy set.
Yeah, I guess if you want to
she's
describe
not
her as that.
Well, no,
yeah, she's got curves.
He called her fat.
I know. No, he called her fat.
I don't. She's not fat at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not you. His description.
A more mature woman.
A curvy woman.
Yeah, she's got curves.
Yeah, she's got curves. He immediately goes, nope, not my fantasy. I'm done.
Which is childish in a huge way. Then he breaks through that childish aspect, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to push through. Real proud of Jeff here. I'm going to push through. I'm going to deal with it, and I'm still going to sleep with her because she makes good pie. I mean, I guess in a weird way, that's a coming of age.
Well, it was pie. It was massage.
She definitely was taken care of.
She had a house. I mean,
she had chickens.
Well, then what I love though is that the fantasy now he tries to be like, okay, so I'm going to have this grown up fantasy with her. Then she's the one who actually quashes it, which I was like, good job. It's just funny though because Kenneth is going through a very similar thing, but his character is realized in a more profound, honestly more heroic way because he's willing to accept Darius and let go. He still wants to save Belinda because he wants to save her, but he doesn't really care about her as much anymore as much as he cares about Darius.
Well, if he cared about Darius a lot, then her mother would be there when she was going through reality.
Unless of course something happens to Darius. We never know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We know there's nothing that ever makes into that metal box, but That's the one thing about that metal box, by the way, that there's a huge flaw, is that they assume that if something happens, they have the time to go back to this metal box and drop off a note. Well, if something actually happened, you can't make it back to the metal box to drop off a fucking note.
Yeah.
So how do you know whether or not something took place? It's definitely
I thought,
a flaw.
you know, with the film being made in 2012, I thought, okay, the reason why you're wanting to go back to 2001 is to stop the terrorist attacks. Mm-hmm. That's where I thought this was going.
That was my first thought.
Because
Yeah.
they're training with guns.
Yeah.
They're training with, you know, being all army and doing somersaults and shit like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they're actually going to go out and fight terrorism.
So up until
Tourists.
up until we actually make it into the garage and see the drawings, and really it's up until we actually see the boat on the lake, and really it's not until the goddamn time bubble expands.
And black.
The movie,
Like, and scene.
yeah, but I like that. No, I like that though.
That's
do
like,
too.
I've been waiting an hour and a half for them to time travel and to go back in time.
But you don't know it's real. You really don't. I mean, it's a romance, man. It's not a science fiction film.
I know.
Technically,
I
I
know.
chose it because it was also both, but
It
is. But
well, no, it's, I don't know. It's more comedy and sci-fi than romance to me, anyways.
Oh, IMDb listed as a romance, comedy, sci-fi,
Drama.
or something. Yeah.
Comedy, drama, romance.
Where was I going with it though? So, one more piece gets thrown in with the government agents, right? When the government, because the whole movie, you're questioning whether or not Kenneth is actually crazy.
Sure. Right.
I mean, it could be very easily that he's just nuts, and he's Aubrey Plaza's kind of nuts,
Which is the big draw to the movie.
which is the big draw of the
me.
movie. Yeah, of course. When the government agents show up, though, you're like, just like Aubrey Plaza is, because again, we're watching this movie through her eyes. You're like, holy shit, this guy.
I did like her face when she realized that there are literally people following
She's like,
him.
they're really chasing.
She's like, oh my god, this is exciting.
yeah, exactly.
Like, this is actually happening.
And then she talks to them, and they're like, no, he's just made some threats against government agencies, and he keeps breaking into places. He broke into a and the break-in scene, you got to admit, is
That was
fucking
kind of
hilarious.
funny. That was hilarious.
I'm sorry, but that's a funny scene. But they're like, no, we're trying to figure out, is this guy really a threat, or what? Is he just some Looney Tunes in the middle of the woods hanging out at Boy Scout camps, or is he really a threat? But that questioning back and forth, I mean, I don't know. I like how they did it. It was to me, it was well spun. It's a mystery without being a mystery. I like that.
So going
Yeah.
along those lines, where we were talking about, is it a mystery? Should you know that they went back in time or not?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, my main draw was I liked not knowing if he
Yes.
was real or if he was crazy or whatever. I was kind of disappointed and let down at the end
Oh, when you found out it was
when they
real?
found out that it was real.
Okay.
I almost was kind of like, I kind of wish they would have kind of kept it a little more open.
So I talked to John about that briefly. I said, what if they had ended the movie with the boat like
Like, it was
undocking?
all spinning up and everything.
Everything's
and then,
spinning
and then
up. The docks,
cut to black.
it's moving away from the dock, and they just kind of like go around the corner, and it just goes around the corner, and maybe you see like a light flash or something,
It's still a little much, but yeah.
but go to black, and
Yeah.
you don't know whether or not they.
Well, I mean,
actually
it's
went
like
back
the
in
end of
time or not.
Inception.
Yes, is it really necessary?
Yeah, he spins
to know?
the top, and
Yeah.
we hold on it for like a minute, 2 minutes, or
it's-
whatever.
And
It's
it
intense.
warbles.
Yeah.
it has a little.
has a
wobble.
little tiny indication, but it's
Yeah.
just enough
like
to put
right
your
when you think it's gonna fall.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when it cuts black, and it's perfect.
Yes.
It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
and I that may be my issue with it is they actually did finally go back in time, or they just disappeared, in thin air.
Yeah.
Which, okay, why have a huge jet engine if you're not going to use it?
Well, the jet engine was to power the spinny ball thing.
You have to get the 1.21 gigawatts somehow.
Yeah, you got to do. You gotta do
Yeah,
that,
but you
so.
gotta go 88 miles an hour. Like, we learned about time
But
travel
that's why it's
back
a-
in the 80s.
That's why it's a jet engine and not a DeLorean engine.
Do you know what I like though? Do you know why he was on the lake? This wasn't talked about in the movie, but do you know why he's on the lake?
No.
So there was a deleted scene that I saw somewhere. It was literally like a minute and a half deleted scene. But she's like, well, where's the meeting place? And he says, we're meeting on the lake. It's over here. That's how she knows where the fuck to run to at the end.
Oh, okay.
So he's like,
I
we're
did
meeting-
wonder
I
about
was
that.
wondering
Yeah,
about that
she's
too,
like,
yeah.
she's like, we're meeting on. He's like, we're meeting on a lake, and she's like, a lake, and he's like, yeah, because it's guaranteed to be in place no matter what part of history you go to. For the most part, lakes and waterways, especially lakes today, would be in place back then. In fact, this whole area would have been an ocean 10 million years ago. Like, he actually kind of goes into this little thing, and you can see in her mind, she's like, well, that fucking makes sense. The same looks you guys are giving me now.
Well,
Pretty smart.
Well, Aubrey Plaza, maybe like,
yeah,
it's like, oh.
yeah.
It does make sense because in Back to the Future Part 3,
Yes.
you know, when they go back in time in the Western world, you
Yeah.
know, they were they like just no, it was Part 2 that he went back and he crashed through a barn.
That was the first
Part
one.
one
was
is
that
the
first
barn.
one?
Part one's the barn.
Okay,
Yeah.
what happens in Part 2?
That's where he changed the Twin Pines Mall into the Lone Pine Mall.
Yeah,
Yes.
part 3 is when he comes to is whenever he crashes through the
The Indians
drive-in,
at the drive-in.
and he's like, "Don't worry, those Indians won't be there." And you know, back then it was wide open spaces, and he
Yeah.
comes out of the drive-in, and
And
there's
there's
fucking
Indians coming
Indians.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's the cavalry. Cavalry's right behind him. Yeah.
Well, what's
Then a
interesting?
random bear.
I want to point out, by the way, this podcast has been about gangs in New York, Inception.
Well, at least mine is about time travel.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
Well, the whole reason I was leading up to that is I was going to pose the question to you guys. Do you like the ending that we do for sure know that they obviously go back in time, right? Because they disappear right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Or would you prefer it to be more open? I have a feeling it's like going to be a 50-50 split.
What do you guys
I think
think?
some
You guys go
audience-
first. I don't want to go first. Yeah.
Well, I like how it ended. I mean, that being said, I could totally see the other way that you described, Eddie. But I do like how it ended. I like how we don't. I mean, honestly, in my mind, I don't know if they actually time traveled. I'm assuming they did, but I mean, they could have very well just disintegrated into a million pieces.
blown up.
They
Yeah.
died.
You know,
They died.
Aubrey Plaza's giving interviews, and she's like, "No, we all died at the end. You guys didn't get that?"
Yeah.
Oh.
Get that
Jeff is sitting there going, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
One less intern.
So, but no, I liked it because I was like, holy crap! Then I'm because the whole time it's like, okay, she's gonna get on. I'm like, okay, this thing's revving up, and he's doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, this can't possibly be real. He can't possibly be actually in a time machine. Because in my mind, I think logically too, if he went back before, what happened to his first one?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Why did he have to build a new one?
He had to
Why'd he have to
steal
steal all this
lasers
stuff?
and stuff. Yeah, that didn't make sense to me
Yeah.
either.
I don't know.
Maybe this is Mark II.
This
It's a Mark II.
Kenneth too.
Kenneth too. Yeah.
Get out of my goddamn head. What about you?
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? What do
Well,
you think of the ending?
I think the time travel thing needed to be probably about halfway because the whole premise of this story, to me anyways, or the whole start, how everything started out was to write an article for a magazine,
Yes.
right? We lose faith in that. We lose track on what we're actually there for in Ocean View. We're there to write a story for a magazine.
But are we?
That's where I would go.
But are we?
Yeah.
Because Jeff didn't want to write the article. He wanted to go meet up with Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first
wanted to
5
go
minutes,
find
that
Liz.
premise gets thrown out in the car on the way to Oceanside because they're like, "Wait, is this a vacation or are we on a journey?" He's like, "It's a working vacation," and
Yeah.
it's out the window. It's actually it becomes a love story at that point.
Yeah, but the thing with me is that if it would get a higher score if we actually, because I like the sci-fi aspect of it. You could still have the romance into it.
Yeah.
You can still keep that romance and keep the character development with everything, and you would have the time travel actually work, and things would get fixed, and then they would come back and they'd be like, "Yeah, I time traveled," and then you can have, well, then you're both crazy, and you go back into, they're both crazy now.
You sound like
something.
Arnu.
You sound like a 2.5-hour movie.
You sound like Arnu. You're like, no, we have to write the story.
Well, what about you?
Yeah,
Justin?
yeah, it's
No, I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
Because then you wrap it up similar to how the Hobbit wraps it up, or the Lord of the Rings wraps it up, where he's finishing the story.
Hold on, I want to point out though. You just pointed out exactly what you described: a 3.5 to 4 hour
No.
movie.
it could actually work, probably for a 2-hour movie.
But here's the thing: you lose all the character development. The whole.
I don't think so.
Well, I'll come to my point.
Because you can intertwine that character development. It doesn't matter where they're at.
You can.
You can
but
still have the character development.
you can, but you can't, and I'll explain why in a second after Justin goes. Go.
Well, I mean, I already said my piece about it. I like the idea of not knowing if he was crazy or not, and
Yeah.
when he was actually had this time machine built. I kind of just wanted to be like more Inception, like where it's just kind of up in the air. And
So
it
you
could
want it more open ended. You liked that it had an ending, and you wish that they had basically
different
brought
ending.
the ending to the middle, or
Yeah.
basically kept it where it's at, but kept the movie going for another 30
I would
minutes.
no. I would say put the time travel more into the second third of it.
Okay, so I'm going to say this real fast. I think your way I'm the least on the page with. Your two ways I could handle, right? The only reason I say Your Way because that's a completely different movie.
It's pointing at me, by the way, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kyle. The thing that the thing that I like about this movie is that it does. It's not. I mean, okay. So I say the science fiction thing to be honest with you guys. I'm just kind of ribbing you guys. I mean, I always joke about wanting the science fiction genre. So far, I haven't fucking got it. But there's a.
And it's always been towards the end
or
of
have
the
you?
season.
Did I get science fiction with Tenet?
You just can't see my screen.
Oh, so
You did in a former
life.
time.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
In that one, I chose
In a-
the wrong
in a-
movie and the world exploded.
You
In a
didn't bring the
parallel
right
universe,
weapon.
yeah.
The science fiction piece is a backdrop to it, but it allows us to go along with Aubrey again. I don't know. To me, she's so quirky. She's so weird. She's an outcast.
Yeah.
Right. He's an outcast.
Right.
We get to question whether or not they're. It's almost like whether or not she's going down the rabbit hole of his insanity, and if she's okay with that. Like
Right.
if we know that it is true, right from middle 30 minutes in, we know it's true. All the magic that's being built between them of this make believe world that they're living in like children, that we assume they're living in like children, gets destroyed. So why did these two people end up together? What they would end up doing is they'd go back in time. Now they might still have little flickers of whatever, but remember, 30 minutes into the movie, he would still be going back in time for Belinda.
Belinda.
Fuck me, that woman wouldn't be going back in time for Aubrey. Now maybe eventually he finds love for her or something like that, but that piece, that reason why he eventually doesn't care that much about Belinda and he cares about Aubrey more.
Yeah.
We get to that because of the
I mean,
hour and a
I
half.
understand that, if they would have followed Darius and
Kenneth.
Kenneth, then it would be a completely different movie.
Yes.
As you couldn't, I do agree with you. You couldn't actually have that ending shot of trust.
That's a great word for it. Actually, that's a perfect word
It's
for
because
it. Yeah.
you couldn't have that ending, the crossing over on the bridge and handing, having Aubrey Plaza reach out for his hand, and that's trust. You probably wouldn't have had that.
Right. Well,
Which is a very powerful moment in the film.
You've come up with two things, by the way, in this that I'm like, I didn't think about it from that angle. But trust is a perfect word for it. And the ear thing where you were talking about the physical deformity to match her emotional deformity. That's very deep for you in particular. Go ahead, though, Justin.
I can think deep.
No, but
backhanded compliment there.
well, because you typically
Right.
tell me you watch everything very surface, and those are both very deep readings on this movie that I did not get to. So,
No.
congrats on that. It's awesome.
Well, apparently My Way, where
Oh, okay.
it was...
So
I was like,
Justin's
yes,
left
Frank
open.
Sinatra. Go
Yes,
ahead,
My
Frank.
Way. Yeah.
So Justin's right.
Well, I was going to say that was how it was in the script.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
left open to interpretation of whether they left or not.
Gotcha.
And it was actually filmed, and it was edited in the first edit draft,
Okay.
Oh.
in the first cut.
And they went. It feels it feels empty.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yep.
gotcha.
So the director, Colin, he basically said, "This doesn't feel right. I don't." Oh, and by the way, it was also submitted already to Sundance at this point. The first
no
cut.
shit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he goes, "It doesn't feel right. It's missing something." And he called the whole cast and crew back, and then they shot that stuff on the lake.
Holy
Wow.
cow.
Wow.
So even
And
if
then that's
they,
obviously what makes it into the final film.
because
Yeah.
they at the very end they actually hold on that empty spot where the boat used to be,
Yeah, the dock stays sticking
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
and I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna come back, right? Because I mean, in
I'm with
That
you.
would've been
in
interesting.
present time, because
Yeah.
that probably would have actually helped me put everything in a closure of they disappeared, they reappeared, they didn't actually like lose hardly any time in our world or
Yeah.
in Jeff's world or whatever, the cops or whatever. They went and then they came back and they're like, did we do it? Did we change history? Type thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, no, you didn't change shit.
And then the cops arrest Kenneth for breaking in and
Right.
Well, that's the thing. And then Kenneth
No.
goes to jail, federal prison forever, and Aubrey's
you
like,
can't get away with that, you criminal scum.
Aubrey's got to go deal with the fact she didn't save her mom.
No,
and
because what would
Can't just
happen?
Philadelphia experiment out of here and expect everything to be washed away.
they come back and get stuck in a tree.
Because what would happen though is I think it was either John or Justin that was saying like, why is he, if he's done this before, then where
Why
is
is he
this-
gotta get the parts?
Why is he? Because
I agree with you on that.
on the way back, once the boat comes back, it's like
Trash.
It's trash.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah, it could be.
components are burnt
You have to
out,
replace-
and you have to replace everything. That's why he has to keep going and breaking into these laser
Listen,
facilities.
He should have grabbed Mr. Fusion.
I will say.
yeah.
I will
the
say
garbage
that-
disposal.
I will say that I agree with you on like the why, but it's weird to say it this way because I do like the ending. I do think the ending is necessary, but the science fiction aspect of it, the actual like the discussion of the paradox and stuff like that, it's such a minor backdrop to
It
the
is.
actual love
Yeah.
story. Because I mean, realistically, it is just a love story between two fucking weirdos who decide to get together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bare. This literally could have been two people get together under the strangest of fucking circumstances.
I'm surprised
and
you're
fall
not.
in love.
I'm surprised you're not pissed about how Kenneth was a cheater and everything. Because
But he wasn't. He was never with Belinda.
I don't know.
Belinda, in fact,
true.
didn't even fucking like him. Belinda's a bitch. Darius realized that. But you know what I'm surprised
you notice
about?
he finally gets her name right when he calls her a bitch.
Yeah,
true.
right.
That's
You know what surprised me was that Darius didn't tell her to go fuck herself. Like that's really what I thought. Like when I watched that scene, I'm just waiting for Aubrey Plaza to look at Darius because she's talking shit about him. She's like, well, you know those guys that are like, they like you and you can tell, and he just really didn't fit into my friends. I was really waiting for Aubrey Plaza's like actual. The way she deals with like Conan and all that shit, I was waiting for that attitude to just be like, or maybe he didn't really want you to be around him with your friends because you're a fucking vapid bitch.
I don't think that would have fit because at that point the audience are with her of this
you're on
this
her side.
discovery
I know.
is this guy crazy? for
You're
real?
right.
So-
I just really wanted to see her tell him to go fuck herself. That's all it was. You're 100% correct. I just
well
she's
and,
such a bitch.
and I
well
don't know.
before oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say before we move on to the next section here,
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of sad news.
Oh no.
What?
Not really sad. but-
Aubrey Plaza died?
No. God,
No.
No, she didn't.
No.
I'm
So
still
there-
waiting to go back in time.
Is it safety not guaranteed to
Two?
Electric Boogaloo?
yeah, it's called Safety Not Guaranteed Back in Time. No, the way I heard about this movie was
Yeah.
from the article. It's
Oh.
kind of become this mythos legend of there was an article that was written about this, and it's not real.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either.
The classified ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole movie's based off of the guy who wrote a classified ad that really happened. It was
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
yeah. So apparently, what the real story behind the whole ad is there was a magazine in 1997 called Backwoods Home Magazine,
Okay.
and they were about to go to print, but they had space that they needed to fill. So one of the writers just wrote this filler
Off the wall
fake ad
Yeah.
and put it in there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it
That's
wasn't a real ad.
Okay.
It was something that the writer had to put in just so they can get it to print on time.
Nice.
And that writer's name, I actually have it.
Was Mark
Kenneth.
Duplass.
No.
Mark Duplass, yeah.
No, it was John Silveria.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is credited in this film as time travel consultant.
Oh, consultant.
Time travel consultant. He also appears as a cameo in the
really?
film. When Darius and the Indian kid
Arnu.
Wow.
Arnu, that's his name.
Okay.
Where Darius and Arnu
Awkward.
are when they're
he
staking
is Indian, though. He is
Yes.
from.
I
he
know.
is
I'm
from
just
New Delhi.
joking. Go ahead. Yeah.
when they're staking out the post office
Yeah.
to see who opens up that PO box.
Oh.
The first guy
The old
that
guy?
opened
The
it,
older bald
that's
guy?
him.
Oh, that's cool.
That is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will say I'm not let down because I didn't know the myth behind it and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff. But that being said, that's kind of cool. I don't know. I like whenever they take premises that are kind of strange like that. Like shit, I'm trying to think of the movie. There was a movie about
Skin I live in.
no.
Yeah.
There was a movie about a guy who attempted to fly by tying all these balloons to like a lawn chair.
Oh yeah.
They made a movie with it with
Yeah, it's
the
called Up. No.
no Jesus. Talk about a depressing movie.
Oh, no
First
shit.
8 minutes, you're like,
Ugh.
just slip my wrist now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Jesus, the
I don't
rest
wanna
of the
live
movie.
anymore.
Yeah. No, but there was a movie with the Scottish guy. Did you guys watch the Keanu Reeves movie, The Replacements, the football movie?
Yeah.
Remember the guy who was wiry, the kicker, kept smoking cigarettes, and he's got
Kind
like
of.
the belly. That guy is in the movie where he plays this weirdo who wants to fly using balloons in a chair. It's based off of a true story of a guy that was in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
I like those kind of like they're sensationalizing it obviously
Oh, yeah.
and whatever, but they're doing this kind of weird take on weird shit that
Yeah.
for no apparent reason they're going to do in life.
Well, yeah, because it's outlandish.
Yeah, it's outlandish
yeah.
and it's strange, and they kind of do like a little cute story around it. It's not meant as a biography. It's meant as we're taking something that was kind of weird and making a weird story.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
I just wanted to set the record straight that it wasn't
Real.
a real
It
ad
wasn't
that
because of
somebody
the
put in.
classified ad.
Right.
Yeah.
And time travel doesn't happen on boats. I got it. Okay, I'm
Right.
with you.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, reaching 88 miles an hour on water is pretty damn hard.
That doesn't happen. But
Yeah.
on land,
Jet engine, you don't have to.
you. Oh, was it hydrofoil?
that would have been cool.
It's a hydrofoil. I like it.
So
right.
where we at budget wise? Just
Yeah.
curious.
So obviously the boat cost a lot of money. So how much do you think this movie cost to make?
So this is an independent movie.
Well, it actually didn't cost him anything because he stole everything. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a pretty cheap movie to make. It feels very independent to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was only shot in 4 weeks too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Very tight shooting schedule.
I'm gonna say low ball $5 million.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Holy crap!
I'm gonna do different. I'm in a different way of thinking.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
yeah.
too.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say 35,000.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, I'm going slightly above John. I'm going 200,000.
Okay. So yeah, Eddie's the closest at $750,000.
There you go.
Damn.
Yeah,
I was
that's
not lowballing.
No,
No.
I was like 5 million.
$5 million is a
Like Citizen
very-
Kane money? Like Jesus.
I was
So-
thinking they found investors and all this stuff.
No, Mark Duplass fucking put probably most of the money up as executive producer.
Yeah.
Probably donated his time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had mentioned that it came out in 2012, and actually it came out June 10th, 2012. So this was
Summer block.
midsummer,
Yeah.
like right out the gate. How much do you think it made opening weekend?
I say it
Opening
made its
weekend.
budget back by $5 million.
Wow.
So you're saying 5 million?
Sure.
Opening weekend?
No,
weekend?
no, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when this was advertised. I saw this trailer on TV and stuff.
But you didn't watch the movie.
I didn't go to see the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
so it's at least $10 less. I don't know. What do you? I mean,
4.9 million and 9, Bob. Yeah.
I don't know. 100,000.
Okay.
It's respectable.
110,000.
Ooh.
I am going to go for opening weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 55,000.
That's probably better. Yeah.
I think Justin was the closest. Yeah, he overbid. I'll let it slide. $97,762. So almost very
Nice.
close. Very close.
Yeah.
So cumulative worldwide gross, because the gross USA and worldwide are kind of the same.
On this one, I'm going 5 million.
Okay.
You took my answer.
Yeah. Sorry. On this,
You
that's why I got out in front.
You stepped out of order, sir.
Yeah.
$6 million.
Okay.
Go low, John. Go
5
low.
million, 5 million one, Bob.
Oh, you went wrong. I said 5 million. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Eddie actually looked at these numbers beforehand.
I didn't, but I said go
You
low.
must have.
I said go low.
We can't prove it, but it's actually $4.4 million worldwide gross.
Wow,
Okay.
that was I didn't know
Nice.
that, but I told you to go low. Had you
Yeah.
gone 4.9, you would have fucking won. The 110,000 was a good guess on the opening weekend. That's a
100,000.
real
Yeah,
100,000.
100,000.
I was
100,000? You
doing
were off
yeah,
by 3.
The reason I did
3,000, yeah.
100,000, 110,000 was because
Actually,
I
less
wanted
than
100,000.
Yeah, 97. Damn, that's
Yeah.
close. That's really close.
So what do you
Okay.
guys think that Rotten Tomatoes scored? What do you think that
Critics?
the critics did? Yeah.
Shit, I don't know, man. It's
I'm going to go with a 93.
That's a good guess.
for critics.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Critics.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say 85.
Shit, that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna go one lower, and you got me fucking last episode. 84, Bob.
91. So John was the closest.
I rue the day.
What do you think that the audience gave Safety Not Guaranteed?
Okay, I'm gonna say a little bit lower. I'm gonna do 80%.
80? I think you're too low. Go ahead, John. I'll wait.
79.
I'm going 88.
So somebody's right on the nail.
Oh, no shit.
It's 80.
Nice.
Fuck you, Kyle.
You're going way too low.
Fuck you, Kyle. You know what? This is a critic show. I was closer to the critic score. Go ahead.
Okay.
So Eddie,
I was closer to the critics.
On my audience score guess, I was closer to the critic score. Yeah.
Since this was your movie, you get to have the honors of picking the first Screen Riot score for this movie. For Safety Not Guaranteed, I should say.
Okay, so to be clear, this movie's not perfect by any means. I think it definitely has flaws, but I like the writing. I can tell that whoever wrote this, which you told me the name, but now I can't remember.
Colin,
Derek Connolly.
yeah, that's right.
There you go. I can tell that he likes writing characters. In I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean that like he likes writing texture to characters. You know what I mean? All of these people felt very lived in. Now, granted, that could just be the director, like giving us life, but like Mark Duplass's car being like this shitty 280Z and having rust spots everywhere and all that. Like there was just a lot of texture to who this guy was, and running around Boy Scout camps. I mean, just really off the wall. Like he's fucking insane. Like it's obvious this guy's nuts, right? I really like that. I liked the dual love stories, especially the parallels between the two male characters, male leads, like that. I like that. At the same time, I would say that's probably one of its biggest flaws, that it doesn't spend too much time on Aubrey and Kenneth, and it does break off into these other stories. So I think it kind of gets me back and forth. I really like the filmmaking, and as John pointed out earlier, I like that they did filmmaking like they did on a shoestring budget. You know, it's shot with like 3 cameras in 4 weeks, and it's impressive for what it is. So for me, I would say that this is I'm going to go a 6-1 for me.
Okay, 6.1 for Eddie.
That's a good score from Wolf.
That actually is a good score for Eddie.
from me.
It's actually pretty close to mine,
It's so
actually.
sad.
You know, because you really like this movie, and it's very close to my score, which I didn't really like it that much.
Well,
which is strange.
You don't have a heart.
What?
I know what it was. She didn't cheat on him with like 4 other guys and get married in the middle of it and then screw with somebody else. That's what it was.
Right, yeah. You didn't see it, just like we didn't see the time travel.
What happens across the pond stays across the pond.
It seems to be the rule of
what happens in another dimension stays in the other dimension, right?
That must be her rule in Brooklyn.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, like the first, I'd say first 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, cool. This has got an interesting premise. Let's go see if this guy's crazy or not, and let's go prove to see if he is or not. Right? That's where I thought we were headed, and you know, of course, throw in some romance here and there. You could definitely tell that this was on a budget, a very tight budget, because there was a couple shots that were used in weird sequences. Like there was one, like, okay, so when she was driving the van to pick him up from the laboratory after he's stealing lasers, when she's backing in, it's a reverse shot. The exhaust is going into the into the van.
Didn't notice.
And it's just stuff like that. I mean, there was another shot that I can't remember where it was, but it made me go, wait a minute, what was that? But just little technicalities like that. I don't know. I mean, overall, as a point A to point B, I wish they would have changed something here and there, but I mean, it doesn't really affect my score too much. The character development in it was good. The romance part of it, where I thought it was a little subdued as a romance. It was more of a drama than anything. But that's just you know, splitting hairs.
Okay.
But I think overall, I think this is going to be, for me, a 5.1.
Okay.
Oh, so that's nowhere near my score then.
It's a point off.
That's a whole point. Yeah.
It's not like a 0.7 like Devil's Reign.
It's not Devil's Reign.
John, what do you give Safety Not Guaranteed?
Well, I like it. I liked it slightly more than these two. I'd never seen it before. This is my first time watching it. I will probably watch it again. I liked the immediate chemistry between Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass. I thought they did their acting chops just shined through in the film. I think I could have done without
Jeff?
Arnu.
Oh,
Arnu. Yeah. Probably could have done without Jeff, but I think Jeff just kind of gives you another pathway, another way of thinking to take you out of the weirdness and put you into puts the audience into a real life more plausible scenario.
Relatable.
Yes, yeah, more relatable scenario. He's like put in there to give you a break between the craziness, right? But I like I like both stories. I do wish they would have focused just a tick more on the Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass relationship.
Yeah.
But I think they did it very tastefully. I wish the movie was, again, I wish the movie wasn't an R. I wish it was a PG-13 or a PG.
Yeah. Why? By the way, I mean, some cuss words maybe.
I don't know.
Was there some fucks that I missed? I mean,
No,
Maybe Jeff does say fuck.
Kyle and I were talking about this, and it might be the skin that Liz is showing.
okay. 'Cause she gets naked like one time. You don't even see anything.
Right, you don't see anything, but I mean, like the whole time she's given Jeff a
Neck massage.
neck massage. Her cleavage is just like right there, center
Yeah.
stage.
That can't. I mean, there's no nipples. Can't be from cleavage. Every movie with a beach scene would be an R-rated movie. Crossroads would have been R-rated. Britney Spears' boobs were out the whole time.
Look, I'm grasping at straws
I know,
because I don't know.
The only
with
thing
you.
I
I'm
think
not
of is
accusing
Jeff probably dropped the F bomb.
I think he dropped it a few times.
It's
yeah.
possible.
Okay.
It was probably just language.
Talking
Guns, maybe that too. You know, depends on
about. God.
what was going on in 2012.
The talking about Jeff thing, by the way, too. The love story there.
Here we go.
I do think that it's also, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do think it's also a statement of like you can't go back. Like, as much as
Right.
he's trying to go back in time to relive his youth, Mark Duplass, even though he thinks, I'll go back, I'll save Belinda, it's actually not going to work out the way you think. You can't go back.
You can't change the past.
You can't change the past. That time was what it was. So
You're right.
I'm
That's
sorry.
a good,
Go ahead, yeah.
That's a good
to go
dichotomy.
back to go back to your you wish it was PG-13
Yes.
right instead of R. IMDb actually has a parental guide of
okay.
what actually makes it an R.
17 fucks.
Oh, close. 10. Fuck.
Huh?
11.
That's what it is then.
So it's the 10.
So yeah, there's 10
10
uses
fucks.
of fuck as well as minor uses of shit, ass, hell, etc. Yeah, violence and gore, none. A man practices martial arts and firing a gun. That's pretty much it.
Sort of. Martial arts.
So it's language.
Yeah, it's mainly language because
We'll
the
call
sex,
that practicing.
the
That's
sex and
bullshit.
the sex and nudity is mild. There's sexual dialogue. There's Jeff and Liz kiss passionately, all that kind of stuff. And then alcohol, drugs, and smoking, it's mild, and they're getting hammered and
Yeah.
banging random
Yeah.
people.
I can see it.
But no
underage girls.
no frightening and intense scenes.
That's true.
Yeah, nothing frightened me. No jump scares.
Well,
So,
John,
anyway.
back
So what
to
do
you,
you
sorry.
what do you score it, John?
I am going to score this film a 7.8.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
7.8 for John. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I'm glad I watched it because I've actually been wanting to watch this movie for a while. It's just I just never got around to doing it. I do like the is he crazy or is he not dynamic of it. I like that as an audience member watching this. The movie just it screamed independent to me. I don't know if that was the way that it was shot or what, or the look of it and all that. You know what we didn't talk about was, I think my favorite scene, and it's 10 seconds long, is when Darius brings that box of cash to his coworker.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great scene that,
That is a
doesn't
great
get mentioned.
scene.
You're
Yeah,
right.
we didn't talk about this at all, but then the coworker's like, oh, well, my wife, and then he stops himself from divulging too much information, and then he said, tell Kenneth that I hope he gets to where he's going or wants to go, and hope everything works out and all that, and that was like touching to me.
Oh, it was very touching.
That Aubrey Plaza never said.
Well, the reason why I don't think she goes into it is he doesn't go into it and she doesn't pry.
She doesn't pry. Yeah.
There's quite a few times that there's stuff that gets said that like it takes him forever to fucking divulge why he's going back. She divulges it almost immediately in their relationship. She says I love you. He doesn't say I love you back. Like there's whole things that take place that she does first that he doesn't do. Like there's just not a lot of him giving stuff. That's the same thing like and for a completely different reason, but I really like the break-in scene at the lab again for its fucking weirdness. Like he's breaking in and they're having like a birthday party in the break room.
Right.
I'm like,
In the middle of the night.
Well, I mean, but
There's this birthday party going on.
well, I think it's like 7 or 8 o'clock probably. We assume, but I mean, it's just funny because I'm like, well, that happens at places of work. Like it's just this. It's his like lab where he's gonna steal scientific time travel shit. But it's where these people get up and go to work in the morning. You know, I like that. I don't know.
So
there was quite a few things like that I like about the movie.
I didn't notice the music much at all. We didn't talk about the music in
There's
this
almost
episode.
none in the fucking
Yeah,
thing.
maybe
There's a
that's why I
couple during
didn't
the
notice.
montages, and that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I think I'm gonna give this an even 6.
Okay.
So with that means that Safety Not Guaranteed gets an average score of 6.3.
Okay. That's fair.
I think so.
So-
Yeah.
We need to spin for next week's movie, and so it's between Kyle and I, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. And it's gonna be Kyle.
Oh boy.
Thank God.
All right. Now we have fantasy and sci-fi
Ugh.
left.
Okay.
Here comes Metropolis,
Fantasy and
1932.
Sci-fi.
Oh boy.
Don't tempt me.
I
Which-
fucking.
which
It's
one?
not you. It's Kyle.
Wait, what year?
I was joking. I don't
Oh.
know what year
Yeah,
Metropolis is.
Metropolis
Oh.
was like 20.
Which one do you want, Kyle?
Which one?
It's
I don't,
early,
I
I
don't
know.
care.
You don't have a preference? Which
Nah.
one don't you want?
I don't want fantasy.
You don't want fantasy. Okay. Here
So
we
Kyle's getting sci-fi.
Oh god.
go. Fantasy.
Oh.
Okay.
That worked out.
It did work out.
Okay. So I have
From 1815.
close.
It's a flip book.
Yeah. It's a great picture show, everybody. A great picture
You have to use
show.
a flashlight and
And
it's
go,
a flip book.
let's just dig the organ out of the.
Yeah. What?
You gotta rotate the film.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so it's down to 2 movies. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pick. It's from 1947. The Ghost and Mrs. Murr.
The
Yeah,
Ghost and Mrs. Murr.
Yeah.
Do you have a synopsis?
Yeah. In 1900, it's even further back in time.
Eddie, I wish we were filming this. The look on his face.
Here it is, a fucking period piece from 1947.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a 1947 film. It's based in 1900. A young widow finds her seaside cottage is haunted and forms a unique relationship with a ghost. That's
Okay.
pretty much the simplest synopsis I've ever read.
So
I think
It's-
Justin saw this on Pornhub. Go ahead.
It's got
I was going to say
no,
it's Ray Stantz in Ghostbusters.
right.
Or I was gonna say the movie Ghost.
Oh, it's even better.
It's got Gene Tierney and Rex Harrison,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I like Rex here.
and George Sanders is also in it too. So yeah, it's one of these very, very classic films.
Awesome. So if you want to follow along with the Screen Riot group, and why wouldn't you, go check out the Ghost and Mrs. Murr.
How do you spell
How do you spell Murr?
Muir.
M-U-I-R. Okay. So go to justwatch.com and type in the Ghost and Mrs. M-U-I-R.
Yep.
Murr. Mir.
Yeah.
So go look for that movie. I'm sure it's not playing anywhere, so we'll probably have to help you try to find it.
It's actually on Prime Video to rent or buy.
Okay,
From
excellent.
starting at $3.99.
Excellent. Cool. So Amazon Prime members, go there. You can rent it or stream it there. So also, if you haven't heard yet, that we are starting to do our Season 2 contest where you could win a free Screen Riot t-shirt. Woohoo! I was waiting for that.
Oh,
No.
yeah, it's the guy in the back.
Woo! Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
You can do it.
Free stuff. Woo!
So if you'd like to win one, here's what you have to do. First, go to either Facebook or Twitter and look for the post that's about Knives Out, because that's when we mentioned the pod or the contest. Go to that post, retweet it, share it, like it, do all that kind of stuff. And go ahead and post your 3 movies that you would like to hear us do a review on. And then we will combine all of the people who submit their movie ideas. We'll put it on the wheel and we'll spin on the last episode. And then whoever's movies that we land on, you win the t-shirt. Just one caveat. Make sure you go to americanpodcasting.net and go to the Screen Riot page and look through all the movies that we've already done in the past. That way you aren't cutting yourself out of the entry,
Yeah,
basically. Right. So with that, Also, make sure you go into like and subscribe everything that we do, because that's awesome. We have a Patreon page. We really need support for that. Go to patreon.com/Screen Riot. We have a couple of tiers on there that you can join. And don't forget to rate and review the show on your favorite podcasting platform. So with that, guys, I think we're out of here.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.